Today I discuss lecture 13, that is the theories of truth. First of all, we must analyze what we mean by truth. Objects by themselves are neither true nor false. They are either existent or non existent. Our judgments or propositions are true or false. Truth is considered to be propositions whose validity is absolutely certain. Truth questions two things as to what exactly is the nature of truth, and the other is what is the criteria of truth. To sum up, what Hosper's discussions tells us is that truth involves such propositions that describe reality exactly. Whatever does not match reality becomes false. There are three main theories of truth: the correspondence theory, the coherence theory, and the pragmatic theory. According to the correspondence theory, the truth uh, rests on the agreement between the proposition and the fact. Truth should exactly match objective reality. It represents the actual fact, and the fact must be like the statement of fact. There should be perfect agreement between what is being said and whatever exists. And the criticism of this theory is that Kant and Locke both believe that objects represent reality. The reality, thing in itself, is not directly known. So, how can propositions correspond to facts? Secondly, we might make a mistake and describe it as, for example, we might mistake a rope for a snake and think that that must be the truth. Pragmatic philosophers say that facts are keep altering, so correspondence theory is not satisfactory because a proposition may or may not match with a situation or an object. The coherence theory claims that a proposition can be true if it is consistent with other judgments about something. This means the truth must be consistent with itself, and also it must be mutually consistent. This means that truth is exactly as the proposition expresses it to be. Now, when we come to the criticism of this theory, we find firstly, consistency and inconsistency are not adequate for affirming that something is true. We might affirm something erroneous, and other propositions may be consistent with it. So, truth cannot depend on consistency alone. Uh, Ideal consistency must match the factual consistency, and this hardly happens. So, consistency seems to be incorrect. Pragmatist philosophers argue that this theory uses consistency as a presupposition of truth, which itself is wrong. Thirdly, sometimes inconsistency leads us to search for truths, as for example, Copernicus found inconsistency in the belief that the sun revolves around the planets, and this led to truth. Fourthly, this theory appears to be formal and abstract, and therefore we are unable to understand it properly. Besides this, the unity, necessity, coherence, harmony, and uniformity and other universal truths are no longer the subject of scientific research. So, truth about facts and physical entities and logical relations between propositions are not truth alone. Now we come to the pragmatic theory of truth. Charles Peirce pointed out that truth should be such that gives us proper results and we can perceive the uh, fruits of our actions. Truth does not need definitions, it should produce positive perceivable results. Whatever gives us valid results is true, and whatever fails is untrue. William James, another pragmatist philosopher, pointed out that truth is whatever is satisfactory in a practical way because it serves a purpose and achieves an end, meaning that should be practical and efficient. Truths and objects are not the same. Reality and truth are not equal. So, for pragmatism, knowledge is true if it yields results. According to James, truth is about a particular event existing, so it is subject to change. James felt that truth was not universal and permanent. Something had to have validation in order to be true. There are degrees of truths, as truth is subject to experience. Dewey argued that when a proposition is a warranted assertion, it is true, meaning that a proposed proposition or statement is true if it can be proved to be true. He was criticized by Schiller, who said usefulness alone is not sufficient for the concept of truth. To sum up, we find truth means a proposition which describes a condition which truly exists. Today, I end this lecture, and for the next video, I will come with a fresh topic.